Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Giants are probably going to open up 1-5 on the season. So then you start to say the fans are getting angry. They just want to see Dart. The ownership's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we'd make the right move with Russ here. But then you have self-preservation mode with the general manager and the head coach where it almost seems like it's inevitable. Midway through the season, it's going to have to be Jackson Dart. Otherwise, what are we doing, Giants?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It should be illegal for Scottie Scheffler to play on the PGA Tour. This guy can't be stopped. Another victory at the BMW Championship. He has a chip on the 17th, which will go down in the history books. 82 feet, landed 60 feet short, and then rolled the rest of the way. Super exciting win again for Scheffler, who is not only the best golfer in the world, he's becoming one of the best golfers of all time.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter, garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy, and we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, yes, it's time to rise and grind. It is a Friday morning on the SportsGrid Network. It's time for the early line. Over the next 2 hours, it's our job to get you caught up on everything that happened last night, what's going to happen tonight on a Friday, and more importantly, over the Labor Day weekend. I'm excited for the show. The energy should be very high. The topics are going to be absolutely off the hook. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranieri. I'm trying to stay calm right now because these topics we're going to hit over the next 2 hours, Joe, are going to blow the roof off the joint.
Heck of a way to head into a weekend. What a Thursday night it was. Great college football, absolute blockbuster headlines all day long, and 4 home runs in a game by one individual is pretty darn impressive for a Thursday, Donnie.
Took the daughter down to the ballpark last night, and as we were driving there before, we'll talk about Schwarber's 4 home runs, news broke right away. And this is the 7 and 7. We got to get to the hottest topics across the sport landscape. None hotter than the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't understand what's going on. We could spend this entire 2 hours just going over these moves and what Jerry Jones is up to. But the simple fact of the matter is Micah Parsons got moved to the Green Bay Packers. 2 first-round draft picks and Kenny Clark, and the biggest contract we've ever seen outside of a quarterback. Micah Parsons got paid $120 million, fully guaranteed at signing for a $188 million contract. Let's start there. Micah moved to Green Bay, and he got paid.
Listen, it's just, I'm so glad I didn't lose any sleep over the idea of trading Micah Parsons. Thanks for that, Jerry. Boy, I tell you, I mean, listen, there's a lot to dive into on this, but we had always said if the trigger was going to be pulled with Micah, they better get something in return. And, they did get a nice haul, but the problem is nothing that Jerry just did screams urgency for the Cowboys. It does scream urgency for the Green Bay Packers.
Here's the problem with it, Joe. And again, we're going to expound on this in the next segment. If you are Jerry Jones, you do this before the draft. Why? Because you get draft capital to make up for the loss of that player. Your team is now working at a deficit heading into the season, as opposed to saying, okay, we got more money to spend. We have it allocated elsewhere. Instead of worrying about the entire offseason, Joe, of how much I'm going to pay Micah Parsons. I can't spend in free agency. I can't use the draft capital they have. Now you trade them, and it does you no good on the season. So the Dallas Cowboys' future is absolutely up in flames. The best defensive player in football is no longer on your team, and you got Kenny Clark back to help you out this season. And also Jerry Jones saying, like, great move for us, man. We can't stop the run. So Kenny Clark's, I mean, unbelievable. But we'll get to much, much more on Micah Parsons. Let's keep it with Green Bay. Jordan Love banged up on the thumb. He says, you know what? I'll be good to go. Game number 1. Don't you worry about me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they made the option, right, to the non-throwing thumb there on the hand to get it to get surgery there a couple of weeks ago into the preseason, and the all indications were do it now. He'll be fine for the regular season as long as it's not on his throwing hand. I'm good to go. He'll be just fine.
There you go. The Packers energized, to say the least, going into the 2025 season. Micah Parsons added there. Jordan Love says, don't worry about me. And away we go. But I got a shout out here. Joe Ranieri yesterday put his money where his mouth was. Told you, I don't need the points on the South Florida Bulls. And reading Twitter while I was at the game, people upset. Look at USF. Look terrible. Down 7-0. Boy, did they hit that gas pedal. 34 unanswered. I loved Byron Brown to score an anytime touchdown. The first one got called back. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He still scored 2 more times on the ground. A runaway, easy victory for the Bulls that Joe had on the money line for his best bet yesterday. How about that?
Oh, that was it. It was all USF blackout, and it was good to see. We knew that defense was going to be improved for South Florida in the transfer portal, and they showed up and showed out in a big way there, and that 95 degrees got to Boise State in that second half a little bit, Donnie, just like we thought it would.
Unbelievable performance, and it looked so bad to start. Like, oh, they're just not ready for the season. Played great defense, great offense, and away they went in a 34-7 victory on a team of Boise that's not used to be getting beat like that, unless it's maybe a Power 4 school, to say the least. But big win last night for the South Florida Bulls. What's in the water in Texas? I don't know what it is. Whether it's everybody getting injured for Texas, whether it's, the Rangers can't feel the team, it feels like. Corey Seager's down with an appendectomy that he's going to have. Luka Doncic gets traded. Micah Parsons gets traded. Not a good time to be in the Dallas metro area right now, Joe.
No, and this is going on, 2 years now that it's been just injury after injury and just bad luck for the Texas Rangers here. And listen, it's one thing. You lost Eovaldi, right? Now you lose Seager. I'm telling you, DeGrom's going to be shut down momentarily. Season is all but over for the Texas Rangers.
Joe, I had a team total yesterday on the Philadelphia Phillies at 4.5 runs. Also, I'm a Phillies fan, so I'm rooting for the Phillies. And I get to the ballpark yesterday, sit down in my seat, and before I could even blink, the Philadelphia Phillies were down 3-0 to Cal Quantrill's Atlanta Braves. I'm saying, you've got to be kidding me. Like, they're going to lag in this game where they just got hammered in 3 straight games against the Mets. And little did I know, the Phillies would hit 7 home runs. 4 of those home runs by Kyle Schwarber. One longer than the next one. A 9 RBI night. The 21st time in Major League Baseball history that we saw a 4 home run game. I was in the stands. It was impressive. Every time he came up, you thought there was a legitimate chance he would go deep, and he damn near did every plate appearance.
Listen, all of a sudden now, Ohtani, really the MVP? Should we all reconsider what's going on here? Because Schwarber, just like that, is now in a very, very legit conversation about, are we missing the boat here? Is this not the possible MVP of the National League? Time will tell.
Let me tell you something, too, because, 4 home runs is absolutely outrageous. The Phillies played at 19 runs. But understand this, I waited in the South, said, we're not going to leave again, told my daughter, until Kyle Schwarber comes up again. He had 3 home runs. He popped that 4th home run, and some of the ballpark, including myself, late in the game was a blowout. So we left, got our way on. Never thinking that Schwarber would get up another time, and he did in the bottom of the 8th inning against a positional player that threw a meatball right down the plate. The reason I bring this up, Joe, is he gets the 4. If he hit 5 home runs last night, which nobody's ever done, I think he would have been the MVP, and I don't care what Ohtani did the rest of the way. Because when you do historic things in an MVP race, that's what separates you. And I think if he hit that 5th home run, I don't care what Ohtani did, including a 5 home run game. You got to be kidding me.
Well, and I guess what we're going to find out rather quickly in both leagues, Donnie, is voter fatigue really a thing? We're going to find out here in both of these races.
I'll tell you what else we found out about the New York Mets. They can't keep their momentum. The Marlins come to town and win 7-4 over the Mets. And as I was talking to Joe before the show, kick it around, New York. You got to play defense and offense to win baseball games. So that defense last night, whoo, boy, goodness.
It was embarrassing how bad, how many, 3 errors, I think, within a handful of innings just absolutely opened the door up for the Marlins there. I mean, but that's the point. Like, which Mets team shows up? The one that just swept the Phillies or the one that kicks the ball around last night against the Marlins?
Fighting through tears, Joe. We've all been there. I don't know, maybe if we're 5 or 6 years old in a tournament, but not usually a professional that gets so upset with their game that they just start breaking down, crying midway through the match. That was Coco Gauff last night. I guess you could say she fought through a couple things, but crying on the court, there's no crying in tennis. I think that was a movie, wasn't it?
I'm with you. That's what I thought. No crying in tennis. What are you crying? You won. You advanced, Coco. What are we crying for? No crying. No more crying allowed in tennis. Just go ahead and get the job done and go ahead and bring down the trophy here and win it all.
Joe, how much tennis are you going to watch over the next couple days here? A lot of tennis? You watching football, baseball? Like, what's your MO for Labor Day weekend down there in Florida?
Oh, wall-to-wall tennis, man. Wall-to-wall open champ. Let's go. It doesn't get any... Yeah, who are we kidding? I'll be in Miami on Sunday watching Notre Dame beat the snot out of the U. So.
Nah, come on. See, that's where you got that wrong. It's Miami all the way. Carson Beck, Heisman Trophy. It all starts on a Sunday night. But we got to get back to Micah Parsons. What the hell is going on down in Dallas? My goodness. It's Joe Ranieri and Donnie right side. We'll be right back.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
The Pirates use that thing, Joe. It's like once every 15 years, we'll hope for the perfect storm with lightning in a bottle. Then we'll try to rebuild it again. Enough, man. In this day and age, with the prospects that you can certainly have by stinking every year and top flight talent like you see in Paul Skeens, it's just a shame and it gets on my nerves. Like for me being a Phillies fan, I think it's hilarious. Like I never want Pittsburgh to be good. Why? Not because it's a rivalry. It's just a team you don't have to worry about in the playoffs when your team can make the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There's no way you're going to have a team with 63 wins and 2 other teams with 55 and probably another 2 that are between 49 and 52. So there's got to be some pullback a little bit, right? Under 62 and a half wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Bumped, banana, go, Pack, go. You're going to hear a lot of that because that's excitement here, and you can hear it from Wisconsin. A monster deal goes down in the NFL yesterday. Micah Parsons traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. I never thought this would happen. Micah Parsons wants a trade. Yeah, he's not getting one. Sooner than later, these two will come to an agreement. No idea what Jerry Jones was saying. I want to negotiate with my player. I don't want to talk to the agent here. So now they opened up earlier this week, as we heard from insiders, that maybe Jerry is looking to trade Micah Parsons, but we still didn't think that would be a possibility. And where would he go? And Dallas Cowboys say, you know what? I think our team is better without Micah Parsons. Jerry did this. Sign your players sooner than later. Because here's what I always like where it comes down to. You're going to trade Micah Parsons and hoping that those 2 first-round draft picks somehow get you closer to Michael Parsons when you had Micah Parsons already on your football team. I was so shocked to hear this news come down yesterday because, once again, it's the failure of an organization. Jerry is an unbelievable businessman worth billions and billions of dollars. The Dallas Cowboys are the biggest brand in the world, but he is a bonehead when it comes to general managing. If you would have made this move when Micah Parsons wanted more money than you figured you would get him and traded him before the draft, you probably have 2 more defensive players and much more money allocated to your defense and offense to make your team better. You trade Micah Parsons a week before the season. Now your season is effectively over. Joe, where did this start and how did it happen? Micah Parsons ending up in Green Bay.
Well, it happened with, Jerry trying to do an end around by not including what is very clearly written into the collective bargaining agreement to have an agent present, but he thought he was going to somehow or another push him into a corner and get a deal done without an agent in the room. And that obviously backfired in a big way. And then Jerry let the ego get involved. And all of a sudden, a lot of stuff coming out of his, this all could have been rectified. No problem. Initially, from what we're understanding now, the offer that was going to be presented or what Dallas was going to offer him wasn't far off from the total value of what he ended up getting from Green Bay. Again, Jerry, being Jerry, wanted to, always wants to have the last word and drag this thing out to a point where now it's a chess match. So now if he continues to act as if he's hurt, not available to play for you, he becomes a bigger and bigger cancer in that locker room, Donnie. He becomes a bigger and bigger distraction for this team. So at what point, Jerry, are you just going, can't get this done? The agent wouldn't talk to Jerry. Jerry wouldn't talk to the agent. And Micah Parsons becoming a distraction. You backed yourself into this corner. And now, all right, a couple of first-round picks. Too late. Not for this year, Donnie. And that's my point. The Cowboys are telling Cowboy fans, we're in no rush. There's no urgency here. Green Bay is saying for the first time, I can't remember the last time Green Bay spent $188 million on a guy like this. And they are all in right now saying now is the time for the Packers to win a championship. Kudos to Green Bay. But Jerry, my goodness, good luck explaining this to the fan base.
You can't explain it. And that's the whole issue because once again, Joe, if you did this before the draft, Jerry Jones would get out and say, we love Micah. I can't spend $50 million on a defensive end. It's not the way we're going to make this team up. We had great seasons under Micah. We couldn't come to an agreement, but I moved him before the draft. I picked up a number 1 in this draft. I picked up a number 2 in this draft. I got Kenny Clark, and you probably still could have got that future first rounder, so then everything checks out. More money to spend on your team, draft ammunition that you can use for this year. The fact that you waited so long is just so ridiculous in the way it played out. Because if I'm Jerry Jones, you could be a smart general manager. It's almost like he watches Netflix and goes, you know what? We rebuilt this Dallas Cowboys team with a huge Herschel Walker move. This is my Herschel Walker move because Jerry didn't get credit last time because it was Jimmy that got credit for that as opposed to Jerry. Stop the madness here. Like, what did you do to your team? You now have 0 chance to win a Super Bowl this year. You just ignited the Green Bay Packers, who, oh, by the way, probably going to stand in your way if you do want to make the playoffs, and you do play the Green Bay Packers. And the Green Bay Packers, I believe, that game is going to be, I want to say, in Dallas on their schedule, which would be incredible for Micah Parsons going home. But you just empowered one franchise at the detriment to your own franchise, and away you go. I'm shocked this happened here. I always thought that it was some charade, and we'll drag this out, and we'll sign you a couple days before the Eagles game, but it wasn't meant to be. But also, from Micah's perspective here, you want to talk about some of these guys, Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, getting that big number. This resetting of the market at defensive end / outside linebacker, $180 million, $136 in total guarantees. I mean, unbelievable. What's the next pass rush you're going to ask for next year?
It's going to be over the top. But again, this is a double-edged sword. Now, kudos, Green Bay. You rolled the dice and you literally just pushed all your chips in on a player who, although young and only 26, hasn't really done a whole heck of a lot outside of that first season here, Donnie. We've had injuries. We've had a couple of shots at a playoff game in which, Green Bay beat them. I mean, Green Bay had no problem handling Micah Parsons and company. So, if it doesn't work out, if he's hurt, if he doesn't turn out to be the player that they thought he was, this is a big risk here, one that you've got to take. You thought Dallas would have taken it, but who knew better than Dallas what he was all about? But for Green Bay, man, this is either all in or this is Super Bowl or it's bust at this point because you got all the other pieces. Let's see what they do with it now.
You're right. And if you look at the odds there to win the NFC North now, the Green Bay Packers are the favorite, plus 170. Look at the Detroit Lions, plus 185. Vikings and the Chicago Bears. Boy, you just loaded up that team where we knew the Packers were good. I still were calling for them to make the playoffs before the Parsons deal. But now you can say they would be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. If Micah Parsons is healthy for this season and plays the way we think he can play, that just levels up that defense another angle to say, we can beat the Lions. We can beat the Eagles. We can beat the best in the NFC. Why? Because if we're up late in the game, we can hunt down quarterbacks like crazy. What a move here. Excitement for the Packers? No doubt about it, Joe.
And they should be. But again, you gotta, when you see a generational talent in the second hardest position to fill on a roster, you go all in. The Packers historically have not been that team, Donnie. That's the amazing thing.
How about a press conference from Jerry Jones saying we got a really good defender to stop the run. Holy moly, Dallas. Tough scene. College football talk up next.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
The Pirates use that thing, Joe. It's like once every 15 years, we'll hope for the perfect storm with lightning in a bottle. Then we'll try to rebuild it again. Enough, man. In this day and age, with the prospects that you can certainly have by stinking every year and top flight talent like you see in Paul Skeens, it's just a shame and it gets on my nerves. Like for me being a Phillies fan, I think it's hilarious. Like I never want Pittsburgh to be good. Why? Not because it's a rivalry. It's just a team you don't have to worry about in the playoffs and your team can make the playoffs.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
There's no way you're going to have a team with 63 wins and two other teams with 55 and probably another two that are between 49 and 52. So there's got to be some pullback a little bit, right? Under 62 and a half wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hour number one in full effect right here on the early line for a Football Friday on the SportsGrid Network. No better way to set your table than getting started with us this morning. And us is Donnie Rightside, and us is Joe Ranieri. And by the way, again, we went over the 7-7. Joe was the superstar last night that said, don't you worry about that 7-0 deficit for Boise State here. USF's going to hit that gas pedal. What was it, plus 175 or so that you got on the money line yesterday with the South Florida Bulls?
Yep, that was it. No better way to kick off the college football season, Donnie, than with an outright money line winner there at plus 175. And listen, there weren't all that many upsets thus far through week 0 and week 1, but that by far, the first win since 2016 for USF against the top 25 team, that was pretty darn impressive.
By the way, yesterday, didn't Cam come on and like UT Martin? They lost by 20, but they covered the spread, didn't they? So there you go, 27-7. Oklahoma State, Minnesota, beat Buffalo 23-10. Some other scores out there late last night. Nebraska 20-17 over Cincinnati. And Wisconsin, who I thought would have an easier time with Miami of Ohio, only 17-0 and 3-0 at the half. What do we have in store this year for Wisconsin? But by the way, you're right. Like, Miami doesn't really have an offense in the MAC, but they do play some defense. No. 3 points for Wisconsin at the half. Chuck had the boys playing defense.
He always does, but, there was a lot of attrition on that roster from a year ago. They graduated everybody, so a lot of young guys there for Chuck Martin. But the reality is, listen, Wisconsin went back to being Wisconsin. That whole failed experiment of trying the run and gun, and Wisconsin was now going to be this passing off. Yeah, no. Last night, what you got is we're going to shut you down defensively, and we're going to run the ball down your throat. And we're going to win games 17-0, 17-3. That is what Wisconsin is going to be again this year.
There you go. What's Jonathan Taylor's? Who remember Monty Ball, Ron Dane, so many great running backs that they had. Just give them the football, win games, play good defense. That's what Wisconsin does. That's what they did last night in the shutout victory, 17-0. More football tonight, Joe. Love to see it on a Friday. You interested at all? The Battle of Illinois, Western Illinois and Illinois, a 45.5 point spread with a 63.5 total. What's this score looking like at the half? I doubt it's 3-0 like the Wisconsin game yesterday. Oof.
Yeah, well, it gets in because Western Illinois is one of these up-tempo teams, Donnie, so they could be 3 and out rather quickly. Illinois could have a whole lot of opportunities to run away with this game and run away big time. Listen, if you're going to lay crazy numbers, do it early in the season. This is the time that you're going to want to do it because this is your best chance of teams actually going ahead and getting it done. I don't think Western Illinois, I don't think that game's going to be all that competitive. Although Rutgers didn't think Ohio was going to be all that competitive either yesterday.
How about that? Parker Navarro and the boys maybe send some shockwaves through the MAC this year. MAC always a fun, certainly conference to watch it play out. But when we get to some of the big boys tonight, 8 p.m. start tonight, Auburn, the Tigers, on the road to take on the Baylor Bears. This line opened up as a 2.5 point favorite here towards Auburn. You still see it sitting at 2.5. Some other outlets have moved to 2s and 1.5s, depending where you're shopping at. But a total that's also increasing, by the way, 56.5 at the opening number. We're now seeing 58.5, Joe. 2 big-time schools getting after it week number 1.
Yeah, no, I'd say you got to love that, too. Out-of-conference teams, and we have seen this, Donnie, a lot, and we've seen opportunities to jump on those home dogs out of conference here. I mean, listen, Hugh Freeze not exactly working out all that well there in Auburn. Careful what you wish for. Dave Aranda was almost fired last year at Baylor until he ripped off a whole lot of wins there to end the season. So you got to like Baylor's chances of coming out at home, playing some defense against an SEC team. I think it's going to be great, but the Auburn Tigers are not what the Auburn Tigers used to be.
I got to tell you, the game of the night for me is going to be that Colorado-Georgia Tech game, Joe. There's a lot of intrigue here. No more Shedeur Sanders here. Caden Salter's going to take over. What's Deion's new-look football team? But also, Georgia Tech with the Haynes in the backfield. I'm telling you last night, I loved a running quarterback there in USF to get in, and Brown scored a touchdown. Haynes King, he's going to score a touchdown on the ground himself at the quarterback position. 51.5 to 52s as the number in this game. Georgia Tech is a favorite, Joe, right around a 4.5 point spread at just about every outlet here. What are we seeing tonight? But you know what I see? Quarterback running it in for Georgia Tech. Touchdown! Put it on the board.
Listen, do not underestimate Colorado in Colorado. I know the overwhelming thought is Colorado's going to take a step back and Georgia Tech somehow is going to take this big step forward. But in the altitude, game one, Colorado against a Dion coach team is always dangerous.
You ain't seen nothing on Friday night. Wait till you see this weekend's card that we preview next right here on the early line.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
The Pirates use that thing, Joe. It's like once every 15 years, we'll hope for the perfect storm with lightning in a bottle, then we'll try to rebuild it again. Enough, man. In this day and age, with the prospects that you can certainly have by stinking every year and top-flight talent like you see in Paul Skeens, it's just a shame, and it gets on my nerves. Like, for me, being a Phillies fan, I think it's hilarious. Like, I never want Pittsburgh to be good. Why? Not because it's a rivalry. It's just a team you don't have to worry about in the playoffs when your team can make the playoffs.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
There's no way you're going to have a team with 63 wins and two other teams with 55 and probably another two that are between 49 and 52. So there's got to be some pullback a little bit, right? Under 62 and a half wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
SportsGrid Network, the place to be during college football season, pro football season, heck, any season right now as we roll along. It's Donnie right side, it's Joe Ranieri. We've been waiting for a game like this. By the way, do you know what song I'm singing right there as a parody, Joe? Come on. Come into your life. There we go. See that? No, we're connecting, Joe, because we got a monster game on Saturday. It kicks off at noon. We don't have to wait any longer. It's Ohio State and it's Texas. And just to take a look at the game board in this, opened up around that 2.5 spread over the summer. We're now seeing 1.5s and down to 1s. The money coming in on Texas. Will Texas wind up being the favorite by the time we get to kickoff tomorrow? We'll find out. But, Joe, there are some interesting statistics that we take a look at here, which were tweeted out by Fox. How will Julian Sayin perform against the number 1 ranked Longhorns? Did you know, Joe Ranieri? 0-16 quarterback starting debuts versus number 1 opponents since 2010. Oh, boy, that ain't a good look, Joe.
No, it's not. But how many of those 0-16 quarterbacks played their game at the shoe and had Jeremiah Smith as a wide receiver to catch the ball? No. So that's a nice number, but that means absolutely nothing here at this point. Listen, I think this is a toss-up game between these two teams. Yes, there's a lot of question marks at Ohio State, but is there really, are we really going to be shocked if Ohio State at home with Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith and all the other new faces there, are we really going to be shocked that they actually win this game at home? Because I would not be in any way, shape, or form. I think this is going to be a great game. I don't think either of these two teams, whatever we get tomorrow, Donnie, these will not be the same teams in October. So
True.
Keep that in mind. Both these teams will likely get better as the season progresses, which is why I don't think either of these teams are going for broke in this game, in game one. I like the under in this game a lot because you've got two quarterback first road start for Manning. You just mentioned it, Julian saying this is his first start period in college here, but they both have a ton of experienced weapons. But I don't think either coach is going to allow the quarterbacks to bury them here. I would expect more. We're going to bully you. We're going to run the ball down your throat. The defenses are going to step up. I think the under is a much better play than trying to figure out which one of these teams, coin flip wise, is going to win this game.
Always so talented, always so great with recruiting. You look at the roster talent comparison, 14 5-stars to Texas, 11 there to Ohio State, 4-star players. Ohio State has 56 4-star players on the roster. Like, if you're not up on recruiting data and how that works out, like, getting a 4-star is a really big deal for a university. They have 56 of them on the roster. So as Joe points out, yes, you're a quarterback. You will be under pressure. You're at home. That makes some sense. You're going against a really good team. I get it. But when everybody you hand off to or throw to are 4- and 5-star athletes, they do a lot of the work for you. How good do you actually have to be? But Joe was also right about this. This is game number 1. And with the advent of, obviously, the expanded playoff, it used to be whoever lost this game, you're probably not going to get into the playoff picture, which is crazy. The loser of this game, they might be a buy-on team because that team will learn from this unless, Joe, right? Ohio State 36-7 over Texas, then like, whoa. Like, what's the deal here? But if you're looking at a game anticipated from the odds makers, Joe, to be roughly a field goal or less, we're expecting a close game. The loser of this still going to make the playoffs for me. The winner of this just has a leg up and has that beauty pageant win to open the season.
Absolutely, here. And I think the goal of both of these coaches is to take these young quarterbacks here. And yes, while Manning has played some snaps here at Texas, he's never started a game, gone into the shoe, and expected to beat a top 5 team and the defending champion, Ohio State Buckeyes. So I think both coaches, Sarkisian and Ryan Day, are not going to ask these guys, or mistakes by young quarterbacks always kill teams here. So I think they are going to avoid just airing it out, letting these guys do their thing, because both defenses are capable of turning this game upside down. So I would expect maybe a little more conservative look early in the season from both these offenses.
12 o'clock, Joe, ready to roll. By the way, you know who's going to be on from 10 to 12 tomorrow morning, setting the table for your college football day? It's me and Joe Lisi on SportsGrid, College Football Today. Don't you miss out. We'll take you right up to kickoff tomorrow. But also, other kickoffs this weekend, Joe, that you got to get involved with, which includes a Saturday night tussle from Death Valley. One team traveling from Death Valley to play in another Death Valley. It's LSU and it's Clemson. This line opened up at 3.5, Joe. FanDuel sits at 3.5. Everybody else has moved to 4 as a favorite towards the Clemson Tigers. 57.5 is the total across the board. We're getting under the lights, a top 10 battle to start the season. You gotta love that.
Listen, I think LSU going to have a good season with Brian Kelly. The schedule is absolutely brutal for LSU, by the way, especially they've got to go into the other Death Valley now and take on a Clemson team with 4 new starters on the offensive line, LSU, against a absolutely rebuilt and monstrous front for Clemson. And Clemson's biggest issue last year with Dabo was the defensive side of the ball, especially not being able to stop the run. They addressed that for the first time. Dabo, who was always big about not going into the portal, you know, we mold our guys, we bring them along. He went into the portal, guys, and he rebuilt that defense. This looks a lot like the Clemson championship teams. Stud quarterback, Heisman hopeful, everyone's favorite, running game, returning wide receivers, offensive line returns. This is a tough spot for LSU. Not to mention Nussmeier has missed some practices because there is word that there might be a knee issue. 4 new offensive linemen and a quarterback that might be hobbled a little bit. Yeah, I'll take Clemson all day to start the season off.
We get Brian Kelly smashing his hammered hand down, boom, at the press conference post-game. We gave it up tonight. I'm so mad at my football team. They haven't been off the good starts here. They need to get a win, but a tough place to play at Clemson. And we're always better. Like when Clemson is good and Dabo's getting angry, that's fun. When callers are calling into Dabo's radio show and yelling at him, that's fun. We got to get Clemson back on that top line here, get them in the playoffs and start wreaking some havoc here once again. But how about this game on Sunday night? I believe Joe Ranieri is going to be in the building, Hard Rock Stadium. The Catholics and the Convicts, Notre Dame and Miami, the new addition, minus 2.5-point favorite for Notre Dame on the road and a total that sits at 49.5. Boy, center stage, standalone game, Sunday night, Labor Day weekend. We're all going to be watching, and Joe's going to be in the building.
I mean, listen, this is, again, a lot of unknowns here. New quarterback for both teams here, right? CJ Carr, redshirt freshman, but he's been in the system. He is a dual threat quarterback. Carson Beck at 30 years old. Yeah, good luck here. Coaching edge to Notre Dame in a big, big way here because Mario Cristobal, for all the hype around him, Donnie, the guy is one of the worst in-game coaches there is. He figures out ways to put his team in a position to lose games. That is not going to happen on the Notre Dame side here. I like Notre Dame, proven commodity, been there. They restocked better than anybody. I expect Notre Dame. I think it's going to be close, but I expect the better coach to win this game, and that's on the Notre Dame sideline.
Let me slide down here. Let's go to some passing props here. Carson Beck over 239.5 in that game, Joe. Check. Passing touchdowns. Carson Beck over 1.5. Check. CJ Carr 186 under. CJ Carr over 1.5 touchdown passes under. That's where we're going on this game. It's all about Miami. Look at my background right there. Can I get the right hand here? No, it's this hand right here. Look who's back there.
There you go.
That's the Ibis.
Yep,
that's the Ibis right there back there, hugging the fanatic. Like we're Miami fans in this house. Look at the Miami book on the bottom line down there. Kane Mutiny and also a Miami book right next to it, Joe. We're Miami'd up. You need to be on board. You can't be in South Florida rooting for Notre Dame and betting Notre Dame. It's not allowed. It's not allowed.
Yeah, I know it's disgusting, but I refuse, Donnie, in this household to lose one more dollar banking on Mario Cristobal putting his team in a position to win against another good team. Not happening.
Major League Baseball is up next. 4 Schwar bombs and much more. It's the early line rolling along on a Friday morning.
Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Pirates use that thing, Joe. It's like once every 15 years, we'll hope for the perfect storm with lightning in a bottle, then we'll try to rebuild it again. Enough, man. In this day and age, with the prospects that you can certainly have by stinking every year and top-flight talent like you see in Paul Skeens, it's just a shame, and it gets on my nerves. Like, for me, being a Phillies fan, I think it's hilarious. Like, I never want Pittsburgh to be good. Why? Not because it's a rivalry. It's just a team you don't have to worry about in the playoffs, and your team can make the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The NFL has ruined the concept of trade requests. It's not real. It's just a negotiating tactic. I'd appreciate reporters changing the language because in the NBA, when a player requests a trade, they get dealt. In the NFL, nobody actually thinks it matters. If Jacoby Myers is going to buck that trend, and if Jacoby Myers is going to get traded, we'll see where he goes.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Hopefully starting in 2027, where I think the schedule could just completely get blown up, which would be so exciting for the fans, the players. So there's interesting things that I've heard that that would be like one of the first things that could say that people are talking about, and that things could really get changed up a little bit.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to move on to a little bit of Major League Baseball, but don't you worry. Hour number 2 is chock full of football. Terry Bowden's going to join us here on the network and talk some opening week 1 lines and how we should be able to get down and have some fun with those. So we got you covered. But the Diamond yesterday was hot. You know what else is hot here? 75 and 60 now in the season. That's the Boston Red Sox with another victory over the Baltimore Orioles, 3-2 yesterday, as they're trying to chase down the Toronto Blue Jays. Good win for the Sox in the afternoon yesterday.
Well, closer than a lot of people thought there with Crochet on the mound. So, and again, reinforcements come back. I think Refsnyder homered in that game and coming back off the IL. Red Sox sweep the Orioles, and all of a sudden they are rolling right now. The pitching really holding up for them, and that's especially the starting pitching, Donnie, has been very, very good. And yeah, this is buckle up. This is going to be an old-fashioned down the stretch. Yankees, Red Sox, Toronto, all battling here to see who's going to take the division and who's going to slide into that wild card spot.
A lot of fun down the stretch here in the AL East. I'll tell you right now, the Milwaukee Brewers running into the Diamondbacks saying, hey, we'll swing our way back into the wild card race. Well, not really, but they are knocking off the Milwaukee Brewers. They were a plus 164 price yesterday and won 6-4 over the Brew Crews. Jose Quintana did what he's supposed to do. 3 2/3 innings pitched, 6 earned runs. He's a bad pitcher that's been getting lucky this year. And how about that? Chris Matt on the other side, 5 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs, scattered 8 hits. The Diamondbacks with another victory over the Brewers.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the worst start that Quintana has had here. And at the worst time, really, because that bullpen was stretched a little bit thin. They've already put their closer, McGill, on the IL now, so that's not good. And it's never good when you turn on the TV and you see, when did the Brewers pick up Eric Fetty? That's not good either. But, yeah, not good. But Milwaukee now heads out to take on Toronto, and Arizona has got a big series coming up against the Dodgers this weekend. So good for the Diamondbacks. Obviously, they have not thrown the towel in on anything at this point here, Donnie.
The Phillies can go from getting shut out and being embarrassed to getting 19 runs, which included 7 home runs, 4 off the bat of Kyle Schwarber. Only 21 players have hit 4 or more home runs in a Major League Baseball game. And quite frankly, I shouldn't even say it like that. 21 players have hit 4. Nobody has hit 5. And Schwarber had an opportunity in the bottom of the 8th inning to get his 5th. But he finishes last night here. 4 home runs out of 6 plate appearances, 9 RBI, charging up the odds board in the MVP race for the National League. He was tremendous last night. The Phillies broke it open. And also understand this. This game was 3-0 before you could blink in the first inning. And the Phillies got lucky to get out of that top of the first inning, and Aaron Nola was only giving up 3 runs. The Phillies quickly erased it in the bottom of the inning. Why? Because Kyle Schwarber's hitting home runs. You got, Bryce Harper chipping in there, and also a Max Kepler bomb that gives them the 5-3 lead, and they never looked back. 19 runs for the Phillies. Jekyll and Hyde on full display for the Fightins this week.
Yeah, I mean, could you, I don't know, maybe use some of those runs there against the Mets in that series? Yeah, but the reality is Schwarber now, I believe, outright National League home run lead with 49. Yep. He's within 1 of Cal Raleigh for the Major League lead, not to mention, I believe he leads Major League Baseball with 119 RBIs for a guy that a lot of times has hit leadoff for the Philadelphia Phillies. So all of a sudden, if voter fatigue is a real thing, then both Ohtani and Judge could very well be in trouble come the MVP time.
Absolutely. And you just stay hot at the right time. I'm telling you, if he would have hit 5 home runs last night, he would have been the MVP no matter what, because that's something that nobody's ever done in the history of the sport. And you did it during a great season, you would get the MVP. How about last night? Mazur was on the mound for the Miami Marlins. 4 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, going up against Clay Holmes. 5 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs, but gave up 4 runs because a lot of errors on the field. Gregory Soto gave up 3 runs, none of those earned here as a reliever. The Mets, after sweeping the Philadelphia Phillies, give one back to the Phillies because the Phillies hammered the Braves we just talked about, and the Marlins walked away with a 7-4 victory.
Yeah, I mean, just disgusting. I mean, total letdown by the Mets. 3 errors. Like, you just can't do that. And we had always said, Donnie, right? Down the stretch, the Marlins are not a team to be taken lightly. If you give the Marlins extra outs, guess what? They're a Major League Baseball squad. They are more than capable of taking advantage, and that's exactly what they did last night.
Taking advantage of your opportunities. What as we talk about the New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox, Joe Ranieri, and I told you before this game, look, I'm not going to tell you how it winds up, but Chicago's going to hit a grand slam in this game. Like, ooh, sign me up for an easy victory for the White Sox. The White Sox hit a grand slam and lost by 6 runs. Why? Because the Yankees offense was brought to the Windy City, and I thought they would hit. Team total 4.5 made a lot of sense. They scored 10 runs yesterday. How about that for the Yanks? The Bronx Bombers bombing away again.
Yep. Bellinger, Grisham, Jazz gets in there.
Yep.
All the home run. The Bombers continue here. We did tell you, listen, if it ain't broke, let's not fix it against these poor teams. A Yankee team total is never a bad look. I mean, what was this, 8.5, Donnie? This was kind of a ridiculously low total to begin with here, but we did think runs were coming. And we got runs on both sides, and I don't know that anything is changing in this series this weekend, even with Rodon on the mound here tonight.
Love it. There's so many good spots in Major League Baseball tonight with some really bad pitchers on the mound where you can really excel with team totals, home run props, base props, RBI props, whatever you choose. But the one thing we know right now, the Boston Red Sox have won 4 straight games. The New York Yankees have won 5 straight games. You look at the Toronto Blue Jays. They did pick up a win in their last game, but they're only 5-5 in their last 10. That lead for the Blue Jays down to 3.5 games over the Red Sox and 4 for the Yankees. That's going to be an unbelievable division race, Joe, to watch down the stretch in September.
I think it's going to be great. And don't look now. I mean, here we go again. The Cubs also sliding. Can't take advantage of what's going on with Milwaukee because they're too busy getting swept there against San Francisco. So it's not all is great here in either side with teams chasing wild card spots.
Absolutely not. The Phillies, again, with the win yesterday and the Mets loss, puts them 5 games up here as we start to watch the Cincinnati Reds. If they can track down the New York Mets, a lot of great stuff in Major League Baseball through the final days of August and right up through September in that wild card race and those divisional races, then into the pennant race once we get to the playoffs here. Let's get back to talking about some Monday Night Football. Oh, Belichick's back in the NFL. No, he's not. It's Monday Night Football in college with the Heels. How about that? We'll be right back.
Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Sheet cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Pirates use that thing, Joe. It's like once every 15 years, we'll hope for the perfect storm with lightning in a bottle, then we'll try to rebuild it again. Enough, man. In this day and age, with the prospects that you can certainly have by stinking every year and top flight talent like you see in Paul Skeens, it's just a shame and it gets on my nerves. Like for me being a Phillies fan, I think it's hilarious. Like I never want Pittsburgh to be good. Why? Not because it's a rivalry. It's just a team you don't have to worry about in the playoffs and your team can make the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The NFL has ruined the concept of trade requests. It's not real. It's just a negotiating tactic. I'd appreciate reporters changing the language because in the NBA, when a player requests a trade, they get dealt. In the NFL, nobody actually thinks it matters. If Jacoby Myers is going to buck that trend, and if Jacoby Myers is going to get traded, we'll see where he goes.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Hopefully starting in 2027, where I think the schedule could just completely get blown up, which would be so exciting for the fans, the players. So there's interesting things that I've heard that that would be like one of the first things that could say that people are talking about and that things could really get changed up a little bit.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
It's college football. It's week number 1. The appetizer last week, week 0. How does it play into week number 1? Well, the one thing we do know is a lot of these football teams we haven't seen play just yet, and that's going to account for some of these odds on the move, as we like to say. And we've already seen a lot of big odds moves. How about yesterday? Akron plus 9.5 versus Wyoming got bet down to 5.5. Didn't matter. Double-digit win here in a shutout for Wyoming on the road. FAU at Maryland plus 17.5. Now that's down to 14.5. Clemson -3 up to -4, and TCU, which we're going to get to in just a few moments, from a -1.5 to a 3.5, depending on what you're looking at here. Lines will be on the move a lot during the season, but no greater probably, Joe, than week number 1, where we just don't have an opinion on how these teams are going to actually work out on the field.
Yeah, I mean, tread lightly here. It's, we still don't know. And if we don't know, guess what? The books don't know. So what we've seen already in just the handful of games in week 0 and so far last night in week 1 is that the books we're getting some inflated numbers with home favorites for sure in spots. So that will continue through the first week, Donnie, simply because take the TCU North Carolina game. There's 70 new players on the field for North Carolina. How in the world is anybody going to know, including TCU and the sports books, what we're getting from North Carolina in game 1?
By the way, just an odd timeline, too, for Carolina and also Bill Belichick. Like, once thought to be the brightest mind in the history of the National Football League, bounced unceremoniously. I got fired. No, I didn't. We have a mutual agreement. No, it wasn't. Like, we're never going to get the story. And then it just seemed like Robert Kraft picked up the phone and goes, we're all owners here. I'm going to ask you a favor. Don't you dare hire this guy. He cannot coach another NFL game. And he went from the hottest coaching commodity in the NFL where anybody would be happy to, barely getting interviews in the NFL and nobody wanted to. And then instead of lining up saying, well, I can just pick whatever college institution I want to go to, ends up in North Carolina. And here we are for opening night on Monday Night Football. And I love the fact that college football put this game on a standalone on Monday, on Labor Day, because we will watch. We want to see what happens. We want to see if his girlfriend is on the sideline with the headset on, coaching the defense or the defensive backs, or just making sure that the Gatorade is all squared away and clear on the sideline. But make no mistake about it. North Carolina are underdogs in this game against TCU at a -3.5. What are the expectations for you, Joe, for Bill Belichick and his first game on Chapel Hill?
Well, he's got a very favorable schedule coming his way. And if it's one thing, and I'll just base everything off the fact that if I'm Belichick, I have no interest in taking a job in college for the first time because I'm planning on losing a lot. The schedule here, a lot of this is going to be about one sideline is going to have way more experience and better coaching than the other sideline. So I do think he's going to win more games than people think. The question is, with 70 new players on the team here, what are we going to get? 2 left-handed quarterbacks. They changed the surface, by the way, in the stadium. Remember, they used to have the turf there. He has grass installed now. And why is that? Something tells me UNC is going to shorten games. There's going to be a lot of power running with North Carolina this season, and no air raid situation. There's no Drake May throwing for 4,000 yards. That I don't think is going to happen with North Carolina this year. Yeah, no.
Yep. And by the way, I'll tell you what's interesting, too, is like TCU keeps getting caught up in these coaching hires for the opposite side. Like, hey, TCU opening game. Well, we got Dion. Good luck. That didn't work out too well at this point. Now TCU's like, wait, we got to go on the road here, and now we're going to play North Carolina, and it's Bill Belichick. We'll see how it turns out, but they are the favorites in that game. We'll see how it plays up. An exciting weekend overall in college football, no doubt about it. By the way, I just want to bring up this topic. NFL, before we get to hour number 2, not about the games itself. Did you catch a whiff, Joe Ranieri, of these rivalry uniforms that the NFL was putting out? Have you seen any of those on Twitter or X?
Yeah, I have, in fact. And I had a friend of mine send me a version of what the Jets one looks like. And it basically looks like it's just like holes, and it's just absolutely a train wreck. But yes, once again, the NFL trying to create, it's all sales because, Donnie, how many guys are going to run out and go buy these jerseys? How many guys you think?
I mean, it's like like you have home, away, your alternate throwback. Is that not good enough for 17 weeks? Like LeBron James ruined the NBA when the Cleveland Cavaliers started wearing every color under the sun. And now it's to the point where you tune into an NBA game, you don't even know who's playing until the announcer actually says, oh, that's Atlanta. Didn't know that they were turquoise tonight. Hey, that's the Sixers. Didn't know they were pink tonight. How about that? Away we go in the hour number 2, the 7 at 7, the hottest topics and much more. It's Joe and Donnie in the morning. We'll be right back.